Welcome to Dr. Pepper and Friends, where grit, grace, and wholehearted living come together. And now, here's Dr. Pepper.
Hey there, and welcome into Dr. Pepper and Friends. This is where grit and grace come together for wholehearted living. So this show is dedicated to putting tools in your hands just for that, living wholeheartedly. We've taken on topics like trauma, emotional regulation, estranged adult children, marriage, grief, all kinds of things. These are all the green episodes. The red episodes are teaching episodes, usually from a message that was spoken at a church or maybe a Bible study. So if you're looking for a good Bible study on Genesis, go back to the beginning of September and check out the red episodes. So if you haven't already, please hit the like button and subscribe. That way we know kind of how our show is being received. So a little known fact is that I have trained athletes. I was once certified as a Nike Spark trainer. Long story behind that, but Spark just means speed, power, agility, reaction, and quickness. I was actually qualified to be able to do Nike Combine measurements at some point. And I've trained athletes all over the world. Some high school athletes that are wanting to transition to college, some who are in college wanting to transition to go pro. I've trained flag football players, professional boxers, Olympic boxers, a U.S. Virgin Island Olympic skeleton racer. I've even had the pleasure of training the Dominican men's national soccer team. One of the things that I've noticed about guys, though, is how many, I would say, probably unskilled guys, resist instruction, especially when it comes to strength training. Now, the thing I often hear them say is, well, I know my way around a weight room just fine, they say. And I get that. I mean, and some do. But sometimes it's those very men who wind up with injuries, or maybe they wind up giving up altogether, and it's kind of a burst and then a stop, right? So one of the great myths that men inherit is that strength means independence. That real men don't need much. They don't need help. They don't need to talk. They don't need anyone else in the weight room of life telling them what to do or how to do it, right? I did it my way. That's the mantra that they kind of want to be able to use. But most of the men that I work with aren't struggling because they're weak. They're struggling because they're isolated. Sometimes an extra pair of eyes giving feedback and walking life together really helps. So relationships somewhere along the way shifted from being built in to being optional. I mean, teams ended. Schedules filled up, responsibility increased, and connection quietly slipped into the margin. So today's conversation is about that space, about why relationships are often the hardest field that men have to play on, and why learning to stay present in them may be one of the most important skills that a guy can develop. So today I am joined by my friend Jeremy Brown, pastor of Journey Church here in Jackson. He is a leader. He's someone that thinks deeply about faith, about masculinity, about what it means to stay emotionally and spiritually engaged in relationships. And this conversation fits squarely inside of one of the 5 field crafts that we talk about in FieldCraft. It's relational realness. And that's not oversharing. It's not emotional dumping. It's not about becoming someone that you're not. It's learning how to stay present with your spouse, with your friends, with your people. Staying present without checking out, without posturing, without posing, or with going silent when things get uncomfortable. And Jeremy and I are going to talk about why men often drift relationally and how faith can sometimes help, but also unintentionally hide us, and what it looks like to build strength that actually sustains connection. So grab a cup of coffee, settle in, and let's get into it. Jeremy, I'm so glad that you're here. Thank you for joining us. So we are here with Jeremy Brown, pastor of Journey Church here in Jackson. But Journey Church has been around here in Jackson how long now?
15 years are just past October. So
yeah.
We launched on 10/10/10. So that was an easy day to remember.
Easy, yeah, that's great. Well, one of the things, and I was sharing with you a little earlier, I have the kind of the benefit of being able to, hear from people that go to a lot of different churches. Yeah. And one of the things I've just consistently heard is you guys just really reach men. You there's a felt need that's there that I think you guys are in touch with, and I think you do a good job of helping guys. So that's kind of what we're here talking about.
Yeah.
We're in a series in this podcast called The State of the Man, kind of like the State of the Union that we have in January. So this is the State of the Man. We've talked about adventure. We're talking about purpose and passion and emotions and those kinds of things. But today we're talking about men and their relationships. So I want to pick your brain a little bit. So talk to me kind of what you're seeing, I think, in the good, the bad, and the ugly of kind of the state of men as they are maybe relating to one another or lack thereof, and then also maybe in their marriages.
When you mentioned the State of the Union and the state of man, I mean, it's such an important thing because the State of the Union, people here's where we're at. It's their assessment of it. Some people applaud, some people don't applaud. Somebody picks it apart, and then we do nothing about it. And then this stuff could really make a difference, and we spend our life trying to change government like it's going to change the world. But really, the heart of man, and when we engage, it changes our families. Our families change our community. It could change everything. So it's a big deal. And I think early on, we knew that coming into it. I'm a guy's guy. Like that's just natural for me to identify with largely blue collar, like people like my family growing up. Yeah. But like we knew fairly quickly that if we could somehow invest in and care about guys and help them navigate life at first, that was the idea, is like, hey, if we can just help them avoid this and this and this and don't do that, it would be okay. That would help. But then we started to realize that that really it is a heart thing. Like engaging, especially men, we want more than just do the right things and don't do the wrong things and manage life, and we want more out of it. And when we find that, it starts to resound with guys. So it's a big deal to me, anyways. Let's put it that way. So
yeah. What are you seeing guys longing for when it comes to relationships?
On one hand, it's such an overused word in church, but authenticity is what guys resound most in. But the problem is that most of the time when, especially church people, but like it's true of a lot of people that aren't particularly churchy or followers of Jesus, but most people use the word authenticity, what they really mean is like the kind of very typical accountability. Did you look at porn? Yes or no?
Yeah.
And then it basically just like that 1 hour breakfast becomes like here's my chance to lie about all the things that I didn't do or did do, or don't show up. If you're like, hey, I've got to be honest, and I had troubles this week, I just won't be there I'm going to skip this one. Maybe next week I can be honest.
Yeah. We just don't tell that group about that.
Yeah. But there's not really a like, authenticity is about like, hey, where does that come from in us? Like, why do I want to do that? Like, why do I want to get mad at my wife? Why do I want to snap at my kids? Why do I want to drive slow on the way home? Because I'm really at the end of the day just trying to avoid as much as I can, or whatever, stay longer. I don't know. We never really ask why.
Yeah, and I think guys want to talk about that, and they look around and they don't have anybody sometimes, because when you're a kid and you're in school, you're socialized up through some really natural peer relationships where you have a lot of first experiences together. You go to school together. You have unplanned adventures together, road trips together, breakups, girlfriends, all of those kinds of things.
The memories are just rolling.
Yeah, I know. And then you go to college, and then maybe you're with a group there in a club or a fraternity or something like that, or a team. Teams are another good place that we're socialized into those kinds of things where you look around, you've got people. But then I find a lot of guys when they get out and they're good, responsible, wanting to be responsible guys, and they get kind of on the other side of all of that, and they look around, and unless they've been really intentional about tracking these people they grew up with, they're like, there's nobody there.
Well, I wonder, the distinction to me. I wonder at the distinction, like when you're sharing those adventures and experiences as kids. I'm just thinking back of those memories that were popping up. like we had that shared experience. We were formed
Mm.
in those experiences. And even in college, you're somewhat formed by those
Yeah.
ages. And then as we get into adult years at this point, like in my life, I'm old now, but like as we get into this part of life, the formation's kind of already happened. And if I'm not intentional about being formed by something, then I don't share that experience. We're just sitting in a chair together, in a room together, looking at the same guy speaking, or being the same guy speaking, or experiencing, doing work together. You're like, you do your stuff. It's not changing me. But I think when you said that, like about growing up, my friend Stacy and I mean, like like 1,000 memories ran by.
Yeah.
First time that, remember when we did this, remember when I got arrested, remember when this happened, like, like you just go like this, college, same thing, and adulthood. It's just, I'm not as intentional about putting my places of being formed by things anymore. And I don't get to share the experience of formation with people.
Yeah.
Because I'm old,
How do you think faith or communities of faith assist men in that process, or maybe become obstacles at times in that process?
Well, I think it really comes down to, like, I guess I say it this way. I grew up in what I call a believe and behave faith. And I'm sure that's not what they meant.
Yeah.
But my job was
That was
to
the
believe.
message.
Yeah, my job was to believe the right things about Jesus, check the boxes, pray the prayer, get baptized. And then my job was to behave, mind my manners, be a good guy, do good things, don't do bad things. And then one day Jesus was going to take me and I was going to get the abundant life when he came back.
Right.
And I think when we talk about for men, we talk about information, like believe, super important. I get myself in trouble when I talk about that. Because somebody are telling me belief's not important. Well, yeah, it's super important.
Yeah.
You can't follow Jesus if you don't believe who he is. He's a liar or something.
Foundational.
So I believe those things. But guys don't really struggle often. Like, it's not just the logic that keeps us from believing. It's the believing that it matters.
Right.
Like, going, well, sure, why not? Doesn't cost me anything, And then the behavior part of it, most guys want to be a good person. I want to be a good husband. I want to be a good dad. I want to be a good worker and show up and bring strength. I want to be that person. But most churches and conversations skip right over. I want to become. I want to become a good person. I want to become the kind of person who wants to do good things and not bad things. And and that's, I think, where guys come alive and going, oh, it's not a pass or fail thing. Like, I'm either a good husband or I suck. I'm becoming, and the journey is the destination. That's pretty amazing to me.
Yeah, that sounds like a good book title.
It does. I wasn't trying to plug it, but it's a theme for me.
Yeah. So Jeremy's written a book by that title. Was it a COVID book?
A coded, like
COVID.
Oh, COVID.
Your COVID season book.
No, I think it was before COVID.
Okay.
I know it was before COVID. I only wrote it because I dropped out of high school.
Yeah.
And so, like, at 20 years old, I could read words. It wasn't like I was illiterate, but I probably a third or fourth grade reading level. And so I literally just said, these are the things I want to do. I want to grow in this. And so I, flunked out of a bunch of college, eventually finished college barely. But I'm like, hey, this guy, I've got to overcome this. And so I wanted to write a book. And so
That's
I just
fantastic.
forced the issue through.
Yeah. But I think that idea, the journey is the destination, along with formation, creates the opportunity for communities of faith to be a catalyst because, we see the behavior on the outside, but because we're not in relationships of proximity with one another, we don't really know how other guys do it.
Yeah. And why would you go to if the whole goal is just behavior, do or don't do, why would when I sit down here and go, hey, we'd have a conversation. Did you do these things? Yes. Well, now I feel like a loser. Did you not do them? Well, now you feel like a good person. And then what's the point? It's either do or don't, you pass or fail. And what's the point in talking about what happened yesterday?
Yeah,
If I'm just gonna
your failure when you tell me about that will help me and inspire me more than a YouTube video on anything.
we just
that
talk about
has to do with
it.
information.
And if you can go, hey, listen, you're not that thing that you did or you've gotten yourself wrapped up in or that part of your story. It is a true thing that happened or you did. And you're like, but it is not the truest thing about you. It's not the only story that gets told.
Yeah.
And to me, like the journey of becoming, that's a life-giving conversation for guys. Like
Right.
we want, like, think about it. Like if you want to become an electrician, nobody goes like, hey, I want to be an electrician. So you Google some stuff about being an electrician, go out and do electricity. Like you don't do that. What do? You apprentice. Like you become that person.
Yeah.
And guys get that. They were like, I'm getting better at that. I'm learning from somebody ahead of me, somebody alongside of me, showing me some new tricks. I'm teaching somebody that's behind me. Like we're doing this together. So, but why does the church think like, well, everybody's got to arrive. And if you're not there, you got to fake it.
Yeah.
You know, which is why all my Baptist friends loved COVID because they got to wear masks at the liquor store. So like, because they're like, hey, well, I can just hide the stuff nobody likes.
Yeah. Well, we've got a drive-through liquor store too. So
yes. Do we? Where is this thing?
Over by the between one Baptist church and one Baptist university. So it's right in between them. Yeah. I think like I don't want to get too far into the weeds with my profession, but as a counselor. It's a really, especially in private practice, it's a really lonely existence. And one of the things that I get cut off from is how other counselors do it, right? And I think, if you think that as a counselor that you go to grad school and do your practicum and you're done and you stop developing, that's a problem, right? I've probably grown more in the last 10 years than I have in the first 20 plus years of being a counselor. And a part of that was from going and having some immersive training where, 30 years into my career, I'm turning in videotapes of counseling sessions. They all have permission, by the way.
Right.
I'm turning in videotapes of counseling sessions to be critiqued, and I'm watching videotapes of other people and how they do it. And I think when two guys sit down and say, I have struggles being the husband my wife needs sometimes too. And here's the places that I've blown it, and here's the places that I've had some real victory and been able to learn how to show up. When I hear that from another guy, that's different from reading a book.
Yeah, and it's the question of like if you tell me, hey, here's where I'm really having some victories, then I can say, hey, like why is it you feel like that's why is that easy for you? How can I apply? How'd you grow to get to that place? Or I can say, when you're struggling, I can say, why do you think that's a struggle? Why's the default, is that, I think it usually tells us where we're rooted, like that, like what are we rooted in? It's the thing that in my mind anyways, the thing we just default to. And where do we default to? I don't know about you, but like when I'm not thinking, I'm scrolling, and so I'm rooted in social media, even if I don't think that's where I'm finding things like,
right.
And what I figure, why did I get rooted there? Because it gives me this immediate dopamine hit every time. And I'm, so if you're digging deeper, I'm rooted in dopamine addiction. And I start to understand it. Now I go, oh, that's why. Because I'm shaped and formed by this.
Yeah.
So, and so just having those guys can challenge that. And the introspective part of us we can either go there on our own, or we need guys to help us get there. Because not everybody thinks that way, but we benefit. Some guys are like, I just do.
Yeah.
And they need help thinking about and some guys are so introspective, they never do. And so they need each other to go, let's push forward.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's an us thing.
Yeah. No, that's really good. And I think one of the things that kind of makes me curious about trends that you may see too is, how are you seeing guys in marriages? Where are you seeing them struggle? Where are you seeing them grow and have victory in just the guys that you're spending time with?
You may have to edit some of this.
Okay.
The problem is, I think we want to talk about the things we're strong in, and then the things that we struggle in, we might talk about, but we kind of keep quiet. We reserve those for like, oh, I need to be authentic. And then I think lots of guys have a whole nother area of their life that I just tell them they don't struggle with.
Mm-hmm.
It's not that they're good at it. They just stop struggling against it. And in the last couple of weeks, I have just come face to face with several guys, like just stories of families where like they've had some victories and like grown, and some they're happy to talk about those. Then they have this pocket of things where they're like, okay, I can talk about this. This is my real struggle. These are the real life things. And then they have this whole other area that it comes to light. They have this debauchery that like the pandemic that seems to be in our area is like the sexual brokenness of like sharing spouses or facilitate. I mean, the brokenness is it's pervasive, and I'm gathering,
and it's not somewhere else.
No, this isn't a big city or on an app somewhere. It's happening right here, and it's heartbreaking.
Yeah.
It is absolute, but I think it is not the fault of, but it's the fault of our enemy who fights at and tells people it's not okay to not be okay, and that you can't be open and honest. And like the more we fight against that and say that, I think it's honestly the enemy's work in the religious culture of the South. It has been believe the right information, behave. If you're not behaving, hide it. Have a few things that you can be honest about, like, oh yeah, I struggle with cussing some, and I struggle with this, so that you can be perceived as real, but then don't tell them about this, and because man, that stuff is just, I don't know. I mean, I don't know if that's where we're getting at, but that's the overwhelming world I live in for this month. It's tough stuff.
Yeah, I think one of the things I'm seeing a lot of guys grow in is to realize that stepping into inner life and in emotional life is probably not as hard as what they've made it out to be.
No, you're right. Yeah.
And when they are able to, the connection that they're finding with their wives is far greater than what they expected it to be, without them feeling the pressure that they've got just because she shares something emotional with them, that they've got to go off and fix something or do. Sometimes you need to, but I mean, at other times you just got to go, oh, okay. Yeah. That's tough.
You're right though. Like the thing that guys have been coming to understand more, and it kind of is the culture of more sensitive people, but I think that you're right. Like guys just realizing that being emotionally available doesn't mean being weak or exposed or like I'm feminine in some way. I'm the least feminine person, but feelings are valuable, man. They may not always be accurate, but they do run the way I live.
Yeah, and they're data sources.
Yes.
And for that guy or woman that says, well, I'm just not an emotional person, I'm like, oh yes, you are. or emotions don't affect my decisions. Oh, yes, they do. Yeah. And what you're telling me is you've learned how to turn that volume down so much you stuff cotton in your ears and you don't listen to that. And emotions don't make those decisions for you, but they're important data sources that you either fly blind to or you become aware of.
And what I find more times than not is that guys especially who say, well, I'm not that emotional, I don't make emotional decisions. They've turned the volume on their emotions up so loud they're not actually thinking anymore. They think that their feelings are thinking. And they're not really. It's not logic. It's not a logical, it's all emotionally based. It's just their only emotion is anger or frustration. Yeah. And they think that's not an emotion. Right. That's truth.
Right. And sometimes they've grown up that way. That was the only emotions that were expressed in their families. And anger almost always, not always, but almost always is a secondary emotion. And it's primary to many other emotions that are much more vulnerable, but anger is such a delivery system that we have for expressing intense emotion that we don't know how to put names to that, which is why for every single person here, I have this little feelings pillow that, you're okay, or you're saying anger. Well, let's see if there's any, and usually all you got to look at them. I've got a whole category under anger. So it's anything from devastated to jealous to resentful to furious and raged. I mean, you got all these
I
options.
use this pinwheel What's funny to me is I've been using it for 15 years. And every single time I'm with somebody, I'm like, hold on, I got to Google this pinwheel of emotions. I have yet to get a pillow.
Yeah.
Like I need a pillow.
Oh, I had somebody come in and had a t-shirt made out of it. So it was great.
Because it makes so much sense that like to me, the idea of being able to, I always just talk about it in terms of emotional awareness. Like you have emotions, but you probably oversimplify what they are.
Yeah.
And so you say, I'm mad. Well, let's talk about what is mad.
Right.
Are you mad like you're incensed against somebody, or are you just anxious and it's coming out as anger? And the more we can pull to the outside, that's super relevant tool, just being able to kind of go, naming an emotion doesn't mean it has to rule me. It's just awareness of it. Like being emotionally aware is not as hard as we think it is, especially as guys. We're like, oh, I don't know.
Well, and it's that bridge to being able to connect with another person too. If I can't, or I don't want to name the emotions that are on the inside of me, then whether it's a friendship with a peer or it's a relationship with my wife, it's harder for me to see their experience as legitimate and believable.
Yeah. I don't know this. You much more educated. You know more about how emotions form. But I wonder sometimes if it's like our tension of I don't let emotions make decisions for me is that's the only place we think emotion shouldn't or should impact. We're kind of worried about it. But I wonder how often emotions affect, it's not the decisions, it's the expectations I have. And so what I've been walking, there's several guys in conversation that I've been with, like talking through like what you have as an expectation. You might be able to, of your wife, for instance, I might be able to say, I expect her to do this. I might say that I expect her to speak to me with respect or to speak positively of me in public or whatever. You might be able to put a tangible expectation there. But there's an emotional desire that's deeper than that I'm going, what I really want is her to respect me, to feel respect for me, like want to respect me. So I think of it this way when, like, my wife, Sheila, like she may communicate to me, I want you to take the garbage out. I want you to see the garbage is full on your own and take the garbage out to the thing because it needs to be taken out. She wants me to see that and respond. She could communicate that to me because garbage is full, whatever. As we've journeyed into it and learning about each other, 30 years now, I've learned that what she doesn't really want me to do is see the garbage. She wants me to see the house the way she sees it. And that emotional desire, she couldn't really name it until we started working on it and going, oh, your desire is for me to see the world the way you see it. And I can grow toward that now that I understand it. Because I was just checking the box. Is 80% full when you want it out? Is 90% full? Does it have to be overflowing on the floor?
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
So and I think the guys, like, we think that becoming emotionally aware is like insanely complex and I need to sit down with a counselor. It's just about looking in, and just asking questions,
Yeah. Yeah, and I think the more opportunities we have as men to be able to compare notes with other men, the more we can learn from each other.
Yeah. No, I mean, really, and maybe this is true. I tend to oversimplify things, but you really grow from two things, introspect or retrospect. We either look inside and learn from it in process, or we draw back a bloody stump 45 times and go, I think I'm going to stop doing that because that hurts, And so, like if we had other guys, we're not always naturally good at looking inside, but sometimes guys can go, why do you do that? What's up with that? Where did that come from? Why is that response natural for you? Or, why is that easy for you? So that we can all learn from each other. I can't always look at me because I'm, it's the curse of knowledge. I know I can't know what I don't know. And once I know it, I can't unknow it. And can't see inside so easily, but I can see inside you easily, and you can see inside me, and we can point it out.
Yeah, and that's how we learn.
Trusted relationships.
Right. Yeah, that's how we learn. And I think for just so many guys, just having the willingness to be in proximity to other guys and to take some of those bricks out of the wall, And last thing, and just kind of think about this idea. But I think you alluded to this a little earlier, talking about scrolling on social media and, the place of comparison that sometimes we make. But I think the thing that's also leads to is this looking at our own lives as this highlight reel, that if we're not making all the highlights, that somehow something's not right with us. And what we're talking about, maturing emotionally, putting yourself in community with other people, and that's a long game. That's formation that happens over time. It's not something that's going to be just a quick
moment.
Highlight reel.
Yeah.
We look in the Bible and you see people like Paul. Paul writes Galatians, I think, is the first one that he writes, and there were 3 years of silence after his Damascus Road experience before he even starts to reach out to anybody. And we see chunks of time in his life where there's like 14 years that go by without anything. What's he doing? He's just hanging out, making tents, talking to people about Jesus.
It's huge.
Yeah.
And that's the pause in there between those, those literary gaps between the moment of conversion and the first letter to the church. Like, that's him becoming, we don't do. You remember seeing The Matrix, the literally life-changing scene in that whole movie is like when bullet time happened, and I'm like, movies have changed forever now, and we'll never go back.
Yeah.
But they're on the rooftop, and Neo and Trinity are trapped, and I can't remember all the things, but they're like, we got to get out of here, and there's a helicopter, and she jumps in the pilot's seat, and he jumps in the other seat. He's like, do you know how to fly a helicopter? And she's like, not yet. And she calls, what's the guy's name, Tank or something?
Yeah.
Tank gets him on the phone, and like her eyes shudder, and then she knows how to fly a helicopter.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't know about you, but that's how I want to treat manhood.
Right.
Like, I just want you to go, okay, Lord Jesus, help me be a good dad. And then I go, okay, I'm done. I'm a good dad. I want to be a good dad. I just, like, Paul took time to become that person.
Yeah.
And you have to make yourself vulnerable to other people. You have to be willing to grow and learn. It goes back to those memories we talked about. The reason that Stacy Kuipers will always be one of the closest people in my life is because we were formed together. We grew up playing and getting in trouble and screwing things up. And then people in my life like Jerry Galinsky that I shared formative time in my life over that like 8th grade through college and still today. We share that, and we are formed together. If you want that kind of life-changing formation and relationships, you have to let yourself be formed now. You have to let yourself go, I'm going to share this with guys. I'm going to share. It doesn't have to be everybody, but
and it doesn't always have to be like sitting down in an accountability
oh my
group,
goodness,
face to face across from each other. Sometimes,
or crying together, or some silly thing.
Sometimes it's going on a mission trip together, or it's serving together, or it's just
helping a guy fix a car. Doing stuff.
There's formation that happens in those moments too.
It's where we learn things together. I think when I grow, I share something. Like even in this, I grow in this, feel more connected to you because I grew in this. We shared something where I grew a little bit. We don't have to but there's no need for us to cry about it.
Right.
We just go, oh, this is good. It shaped me. Let's move on. So
exactly.
Now there's always value, and I'm the most likely person in the world to cry. So I'm not beating that up.
I cry when the balls run through the tee. Yeah. Sometimes for different reasons, but sometimes it's inspiring. Sometimes it's just grief.
Yes. My girls always are like, oh, here's the part where dad cries.
Awesome. But man, Jeremy, thank you for being with us.
Glad to
appreciate it.
I like
if we can ever serve you and help in any kind of way, just let us know.
All right.
So as we wrap up, here's what I want to leave you with. Most men don't need another insight. They don't need another book on relationships. They don't need more information. They just need practice. Relational strength is kind of the same way that relational strength is built kind of the same way that physical strength is built. It's through repeated, intentional reps. It's through showing up. It's through staying present. It's by speaking one honest sentence instead of just disappearing. So it's about speaking one honest sentence instead of disappearing. It's choosing engagement over avoidance. And that's what relational realness is really about. So, Jeremy, thank you so much for bringing your wisdom, clarity, steadiness into this conversation. Man, I appreciate you. I appreciate the way that you model this presence in your own life and through your leadership at Journey Church. So, thank you so much for listening. And if something in this conversation has stirred you, don't rush past it. Let it be an invitation, not to fix everything, but to take one small relational step this week. Maybe it's a conversation, maybe it's a check-in, maybe it's just an honest moment that you have with someone. But that's where strength really grows, just by getting those reps in. So thank you for being with us on Dr. Pepper and Friends. And just so you'll know, FieldCraft is live. This is a training course for guys. It's really a platform that's bigger than that, but it's a training course for guys in some of the soft skills. And relational realness is one of those. So I'll leave the link to FieldCraft in the show notes. If you're listening, it's FieldCraft Outdoor Co. Like company.com. So FieldCraftOutdoorCo.com. So check it out. See what you think. Be open to any feedback that you want to give as well. So thanks again for tuning into Dr. Pepper and Friends, and we'll see you next time.